Okay, I thought do another quick video on how to do the 360 or Pano modeling specifically for in Blender. So this is the add-on Pano Fetch. I'm in Street View, it's Oxford Circus or somewhere, and then you just click on the Pano Fetch, and then you go for the highest quality, and off it downloads, and it downloads a PNG to your downloads folder. So that I've already done that. Um, so now what I would do is I would get a sphere, UV sphere, maybe increase the subdivision or whatever a little bit. I don't know, 60, 30 or something. And let's make it 50 meters. Okay, so now we're inside the sphere, and then what we need to do is apply the Pano texture. I think it's worth mentioning the difference between HDR and Pano. I mean, so you got like it's just the color depth in a high dynamic range image 360 photo. It has it captures the light intensity as a floating value, as a float. That is, as opposed to an 8-bit image like a JPEG. So you get a lot more color fidelity as opposed to an 8-bit one. So anyway, to the shader. Okay, let's go and make a new one, and then we will plug texture, environment texture. Can't go just straight there, can we? I don't think it'll let us do that. Let's try anyway. I'm just curious to see what would happen. And that's worked. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll move the camera to the origin because the sphere is on the origin. And if we jump into the camera, so you're on the keypad, oops. You will see in tools, lock, middle mouse, that we've got this image here. Or we've got the street view, and so you can do that. And if we disable the lock and press Control, we can zoom in and out. So what you then need to do is we need to create a cube. So I'd like to have two 3D views open, one which has the line up in it, and as much of the thing want to line up, and then another one 3D view where we can just go. We don't really need to see the the texture on it, so just go add mesh cube. I'm currently inside the cube there, so let's go and move the cube like so, and I'm going to say that corner down there is 3 meters. So let's go into edit mode, select one of the faces, and then hold down Control or W. Let's transform that, and just hold down Control, and we can snap. So that's now 3 meters, that cube. So we jump back into object mode, and we shall shift it down. I might change the viewing options as well to wireframe, because obviously it's kind of useful to see the background underneath, sort of thing. So let's do that. Display options, wireframe. Okay, I mean, we don't really need the actual volume. We could have probably got away with a square, but it's quite you can use the volume for box modeling. So I mean, you could extrude edges out, I suppose, but I quite like box modeling generally as an approach. Okay, something like that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. Of course, we could zoom in if we disable this. I say I need to do that binding on that. So you could zoom in and get that to line up better. I'm just going to be quick because I just want to show the principle, and you can see how if this is going to work for you or not. So let's just duplicate that cube. So object mode, Control D, was it Shift D? Shift D. And then we go into edit mode, and then I'm just going to drag that out to the other edge and going to kind of infer the other you know, what we can't see. And you see it doesn't line up, and this is, you know, obviously there's two things. The Planisphere might not be 100% level, and also we you know, we could be north, south, east, west. So ideally we want to try and get the face of the building to align to an axis. So let's say the y-axis, for example. So what we can do, let's split across the bottom, and we'll go to the shader and we'll select the world, and then, or rather, won't select the world, select the object, select the sphere, and then what I'll do is I've got render wrangling on, which allows you to go Control T and it will span out the mapping for you. You can see it's all a bit out of whack, so what you need to do is select the sphere as the mapping object, and then go Object to Vector, and then that's fixed. And now what we can do is we can use these rotations. So if we rotate it in the Y, that's our sort of, you know, which card, you know, which direction, north, east, south, so we can line up like that. But you can see it's still not quite right, so that's because it's not vertically exactly right. So what we need to do is we need to play around with the roll, which is the y-axis, and the bank, or let's try the heading rather. Sorry, it's this one here. So you want to try and get all the lines parallel, which can be a bit tricky, and it's important to spend time getting this right. I'm tempted to load one I've done earlier, but that would be a bit misleading, so let's not do that, just to show you what's actually involved. And then we can shift this over. This is looking pretty good. So now we know that face is so we can use basically the axis, you know, X, Y, Z to box model out you know, faces or whatever, or bevels. I'm not going to spend much more time on this, because otherwise it's just going to go. But you can see how you could spend quite some time getting all the exact details in. And when you need to zoom into an area, all you need to do, numeric panel, select the camera view, and then you can middle to, let's say, want to get that better lined up, so like that. And then we can either adjust the, I'm just going to adjust the overall view size, so deactivate that, Control middle, and then we can zoom in, and you could get that exactly right in terms of lining it up. I'm not going to, as I say, I'm not going to spend much more time. I think I'll stop the video here, in fact, but just, let's do just one model function so you can see what I'm driving at. So we could go extrude, scale. So you sort of use both views in conjunction, extrude, and if you need the detail, then you just zoom in, and that's all there is to it. And then you might be able to, you could presumably pull the textures. I'm going to leave that to another video of the 360 image to texture that as well. But I hope that's given you an idea generally how you can use 360 panoramic images from Street View in Blender with the Pano Fetch Chrome add-on to get the image, and then adjust the alignment on a sphere, and then you can you're providing your cameras in the origin. Let's just check the camera. Camera. Oh, we're in edit mode, aren't we? So the camera's still not quite on the origin. Somehow I've messed that up. That does need to be on the origin, so let's just I need to maybe lock out those views, because if it's not on the origin of the sphere, then as you pan around, your models will start sliding, but it won't now. It should perfect that everything here, how it's lined up. You see we're slightly off here, so pull that back like so, or something. Let's try it now. If I pan around, you see it's perfectly stuck. Everything's stuck. And there you go. So I'll stop the video now just to keep it short, but that's the basic principle.